Luminary Log, July 1st, 2026. Between worlds, and then... Here we are back again. I don't know what I'm doing. Hello, so welcome back, everybody. It's time for the July. Oh, once again. Oh, wow. Great. Another Luminary Log. You don't even fucking stream anymore. What the fuck, man? Well, I got to keep you updated. Okay, we gotta keep it. This is like the one consistent in anyone's life right now. Okay, you gotta give me some credit. Okay, we're just hanging out. We're having a good time. So, hello, I'm me. You're you. Let's talk about some things. I always struggle to open these up because I have my notes. You can see my notes here on the screen. You know, I fade them in all nicely, and we get to kind of go through this together and see what's he gonna say about this thing. I can just read. I could just open the video, click to the middle, read everything, and then close the video if I wanted to just really quickly get the info, right? Anyway, so what's the latest with the project? Well, when we went into June, we just had 2 points left in the last layer. We're calling them layers. We're continuing the cake metaphor, okay? And I'm happy to announce that over the course of June, I did in fact get the last 2 points and the last layer complete. Yay! Oh my god, oh, it's so exciting! Oh, holy shit! Yes. So, with that done, yes, I still need to take some time to construct and put the layers together. But now the layers themselves are done, so I gotta gussy them up a little bit. I gotta dress them up. I gotta arrange them in a proper way and kind of get all the pieces done. But the pieces themselves are complete, which is great. So there's just a little bit more work on related to the layers, so to speak, and then putting the actual project together is a relatively easy process from there. So, yes, I believe the absolute hardest 90% of the project is complete and done, which is great. And so we're finally almost kind of maybe there. Seriously, like actually, I don't know how there have been so many ETAs that have been all sorts of whatever, right? That are like, oh, February, oh, April, oh, I can't imagine it taking longer than June, oh, now it's July, and now it's done. Wow, dude, you've been on hiatus for this long, and half the year, one entire half of a year has gone by working on this, right? And admittedly, I can't work on it all the time. I wish it was something that was so easy to just do for like 12 hours a day, you know, every waking moment, but it's not really feasible because it's so creative and it's so, you can get really, what I've been doing, you know, it's very easy to get kind of overwhelmed and then say, okay, that's my good 4 or 5 hours I can do for this for today. And then I just gotta let it go. I just gotta let that shit go, man. So yeah, but I'm very excited. So currently I'm, getting a little bit ahead of myself right now, but June was interesting. I got the work done by like the end-ish of the first half of the month, but I was very much kind of blown out. And I don't know if I was looking for an excuse to celebrate, but I was very blown out and just kind of tired of it. And when I looked back on some of the layers, I will admit, this is something you shouldn't say, so I don't want to say it too much, but I will admit that I was almost immediately disappointed. Because I was like, yeah, I finished this thing, and then I looked at it and I'm like, oh, this is kind of like the 80% rule. Fuck. But because I said I was done, it's done. And creating art, creating stuff, and this is art. I promise you, what I'm doing is art. It's not a really simple or easy thing, and I don't know what the exact wording of the quote is, but no art is ever finished. It is only ever released. So it'd be very easy to say, oh, I got to go back and redo this part. Oh, I gotta do this, right? But at some point you just got to let it go, right? And I don't want to tease too much, but for the most part, the ideas that I've had for the core structural ideas for the project, I've had pretty much ironed out since February. Okay. And then it's just been like the slow, meticulous process of fleshing all those things out and making sure, boom, here's this part. And then this is supposed to be like this. And it's supposed to be like this. And yeah. But fortunately, along the way, it's taken so long that I've had so much time for all these ideas to marinate. And I say, oh, what if we did this? And we should put that there. And we should do this and whatever. And so it's really cool. It's really exciting. So I'm really happy. Even if I look back and I say, wow, the entire first half of 2026, I kind of fucking wasted that shit. But not entirely, because I think there's so many details and flourishes now in it that weren't thought of when the original draft was made, that I'm really happy about it. And I hope it's really cool. I hope people dig it quite a bit. So the current ETA for the project is realistically, I should be able to be done putting the layers together in like a week, maybe 2 weeks. And then the remainder part of the project, you know, the final construction, getting it to a releasable state, should only take a couple weeks. Yeah. You know, so I think late July or early August is entirely reasonable. Last month, I think I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned this because it's been a month, right? I can't quite remember, but I said that there was a specific day in early August that's an important date for Vague Luminary and, you know, whatever, that I would probably like to aim for. And I know that it's so late. Like, we've been waiting so long. Oh my God, bring back Gran Turismo Tuesday. Oh my God, what happened to this guy? Ah! But yeah, I don't know. I love pageantry. I love theatrics. I love the drama, you know. I love when things are drenched in meaning and emphasis and purpose. So I don't know. But one thing I will say is that I may in fact come back to stream before the project drops, because we do actually have some loose ends to tie up. I will say what the loose ends are now, well, in a moment. But since December, or whenever I started my semi-hiatus or whatever, it's insane to think that I thought I was going to get this done in a month. Now, a month feels like such a long amount of time, and it really is. An entire month is a lot of time, but I've known what the next thing I was going to play. We wrapped up Yakuza, right? We got Yakuza done. We played a few other new games as they came out last year, like Gears of War Reloaded and Doom the Dark Ages. But you know, what's the next like big project? What's the and I've gotten so many ideas in the past half year for other big projects. I have so many grand plans that I'm cautious about sharing, because I don't want to put too much on my plate before I get the chance to dump it off the side for the dog to pick up and put something else on there, right? But I may come back. I may just like just jump scare and just do stuff before the project is done. I might announce the release date for the project and then do stuff. I don't know. But suffice to say, the current season of Vague Luminary will be over whenever the project comes out. The project will open the next season of Vague Luminary, and everything will be really fucking cool. And we're going to see a lot of things are different and change and whatever. One of the exciting things going on right now that I really can't give too much elaboration on, and I will be able to talk about in the future. But one of the things that's very exciting, it's not, in some ways it's daunting, in some ways it's exciting, in some ways it's this and that and this and that. But one of the things going on right now is I'm actually between jobs. But yeah, we can talk about how long that's been going on and what's been going on in all this process and everything, probably another time, but you will get your answers. So it's just been a really fun time over here in Vague Luminary, you know, while you're probably going about your life and saying, oh, I've moved on to this streamer, I've moved on to this YouTuber, oh, right, that's fine. It's kind of funny to think that I've just like burnt any and all momentum I ever had with my 200 subscribers, and just like, yeah, I'm going to take like 7 months off and, you know, I'll come back or whatever. So I have no expectations to be like, yeah, so I'm going to drop this thing. And then when I get back to streaming, bam, everybody's going to love me. I'm going to be like, it's still a grind. It's still, I have an immense amount of distance to go to scale the mountain that I'm trying to scale, but I will do it with better and sharper tools than you've ever seen, and the stamina will be insane. So yes, So Project DTA late July, early August. I struggled a bit to work on it. Now I'm going into the first bullet point here, but when I finished getting the last point done, like I said, when I looked back on it the next day, I was like, oh, and I was kind of nervously sweating because it's a part that they are layers. They all work in conjunction, right? It's not like this part. They're not chapters. They're all they're literal layers. They all work at the same time. So if this last layer that I make suddenly isn't as good, or it doesn't quite sell it as well as the other layers, it can make the other layers look bad. And so I looked back on it. I was like, oh God. And I started sweating, and I was kind of stressed out. I was like, oh my God, there's no fucking way. Oh my God. Because I didn't want to go back to working on it. I wanted to say, yes, this is done. Let's move on. And so then for 3 days in a row, I opened the project. I looked at it I got up with the intention of and today I'm going to work on the project, right? Let's get some more work done. And then 3 days in a row is like, oh God, I can't do this shit. Oh God. So before I knew it, third or fourth day, I randomly, for no real reason, I don't know why I did, but I got back into Grand Theft Auto Online, which is something I've dabbled in I wouldn't even say dabbled, I don't know if addiction is the right thing either, because it's not necessarily something I struggle to tear myself away from, but I've put probably 1,000 hours into Grand Theft Auto Online over time, 500 hours on 360 and Xbox One. And then I had to start all the way over again on PC, in 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. But the last time I really was playing it heavily was around the time the Diamond Casino came out. And so I've made, I used to do a shitload of racing back then, as you can imagine. That was one of my favorite games to race in general. But I also, grinded a lot of money and blah. So I've had a lot of fun kind of trying to figure out, whoa, what's the deal? There's all these new buildings now. I had a nightclub, and I had an office, a large warehouse, a vehicle warehouse, a hangar, a nightclub, an arcade, right? So and a clubhouse, all the MC businesses, I had I was in there, right? I was in the fucking game, right? But now there's the garment factory, the agency, the bail office, the auto shop, fucking all this other bullshit. I'm like, oh my God, the Kasatka, the Cayo Perico. I get back in, everybody's like, yeah, all you got to do is grind the Cayo Perico heist, because you can solo it and get $1 million in an hour and a half, every 3 hours after the cooldown. I was like, holy fuck, there's no way, man. Back in the day, if you could get $100K in an hour, that was good money, right? So anyway, I got back into it, and I looked at everything, and I saw how good the mansions are, because now there's I'm getting off track. I'm not trying to talk too much about it, but now I'm trying to grind out for a mansion. It's 12.8 mil. I've got 9 mil now. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I'm going to grind out that. I have 2 weeks to get that done, and I'll get a little bonus before the next update comes out. And I don't know when I'm going to have time to do online, live service stuff in the future when I get back to streaming, because I'm going to hit it so hard. But anyway, I took a week off basically from working on the project, and then I randomly just 3 days ago was all right, fuck it, let's go back in. And then suddenly I'm oh, this is actually really good. It's crazy. Any creative can tell you, I feel like it's a universal experience for a creative you get a really good idea, and some ideas are really good, and you wake up the next day, and then when you look back on them, you're oh my God, what was I thinking? This is dreadful, right? But after that first filter, as a creative, you're then oh, I gotta flesh this idea out. I think this is good. Let's keep doing this. And then I think until you finally release something, you're gonna keep ping-ponging between, oh my God, this is awful. Why did I do that? I put so much time into this. This is terrible. But then you ping pong back to, this is the fucking coolest shit ever. Nobody stands a chance. When this shit comes out, nobody fucking stands a chance, which is where I'm at right now. And it's great. It's pretty fucking cool. I will literally tweak things and work on stuff, and I'll just I'll just cackle. I'll genuinely cackle like that, because I'll tweak something here, and then it's 5% better than it was before, and I'm yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, I played some GTA Online. I picked up like a dozen incremental games just because I could on the Steam Summer Sale. Yeah. So we have some housekeeping to do when I do come back to streaming. I already talked with the person who requested. So when we come back from streaming, there's a series we're going to play. That's the first thing in line because somebody requested that I play it. And I was always like, I always talked about playing it for them for like 5 years. So we're finally going to do that. But with their permission, I'm jumping a few loose ends in ahead of time, which are the 3 loose ends are back in December, there was the Night Rain DLC. You may remember. I think it was called the Forsaken Hollows. Yes. And then just a couple weeks ago in June, there was a new Vampire Survivors update, update 1.15, the wet one, apparently. And then there's a Vampire Survivors DLC coming out in the summer at some point, so we'll do that. And then also, Doom the Dark Ages is finally getting its DLC on July 7th. That's 6 days from now. Oh my God. Oh. So whenever I come back to streaming, if it's like late July, early August, right before the project drops, or right after the project drops, depending on everything, depending on, I might, and I'm not setting any like hardcore deadlines because I want everything to live and breathe as it needs to, but it's entirely possible I might get the project done by like July 20th or something, and then I've got time to just fuck around, and so I might just clean up the loose ends and then come back to streaming with the project's release in early August or whatever. So August 9th is that date that is important in vague Luminary lore, as we all know. So that's what I'm kind of thinking. If it takes that long, then that's a perfect day to drop it. Hopefully, I know I've said this a billion times, so I'm really sorry to repeat myself, but I don't see it taking longer than August 9th. So if it does, I'm going to feel so fucking stupid. But I guess I'll just drop a teaser. That's what I'll do. Yeah. There we can. Yes. Then we can still do something for August 9th. But and I'm uncertain if me coming back technically ends the hiatus or whatever. We could call it like we could call them like vague Luminary OVAs, like non-canon material or something, right? Yeah. And then he played some Night Rain and he played some Vampire Survivors and he played some Doom and he said it was like non-canon. I don't know what the fuck that's about. Oh yeah, you got into vague Luminary. That's cool. You gotta watch the non-canon stuff from summer 2026. That's that's my favorite stuff. When he was still on hiatus, but like he wasn't because he was streaming, but he was like, he said officially he was on hiatus. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know. I hope people have all these intricate, nuanced discussions about my work in the future. I don't know. Yeah, that's the vague Luminary update. So other than what I'm doing, let's talk about how video games are doing, because this morning we just got 2 great, just incredible pieces of news, and one of which being at I believe a sharp 8 a.m. The first thing I saw when I opened Twitter, I got up, I grabbed my phone, I opened Twitter, the very first thing with 40 at the time, for like 20-something thousand likes, or PlayStation has announced in 2028 they will no longer make physical game discs. Huh? I don't know how they could I don't know how they're going to swing that. People are not happy about it, suffice to say, but just kind of interesting because you get that. So let's list off everything first, then we'll dig in. So there's that smaller thing. The PS3 and PS Vita stores will be shutting down from August to July of next year. In the United States, it'll be July of next year. In some other places, it'll be earlier. But so for me, I've got a year to collect the last like half dozen things I want to grab off the PS3 store, which is fine. They already shut down the 360 store officially, but unofficially, you can still kind of get things on it. Shh, don't tell anybody at Microsoft that. And then, people were laughing at PlayStation. Meanwhile, a report comes out where Xbox is like, yeah, and again, that was not an official announcement, but a report that's like, yeah, so we're thinking we're probably going to make the Project Helix, the next Xbox. It's probably not going to have a disk drive. Huh? Just again, it's pretty crazy. So apparently Xbox wants to experiment with the idea of like some kind of disc to digital ownership system thing where you could not trade in your disc, but somehow it would identify your disc, and then the ownership of that could be digitally on your thing, and that you would also be able to, if you gave the disc to somebody else, the ownership would go with them somehow. I don't know. It sounds like they would work the same as Nintendo's game key cards somehow. I don't really fucking know how it's going to work, but at some point in time, I probably would have been a fan of that, but honestly, I'd rather keep my discs. And, I've been an all digital guy since like 2015. So I love my digital stuff. I love installing and uninstalling stuff lightning fast with my crazy internet and everything. But I still value having those discs, right? So even though in the past few years, I'm like, oh, I think it'd be cool to rebuy all of my Xbox games that I have physically digitally, so that I just for the sake of future proofing and ease of access or whatever. But I'd still want to keep my discs. So I don't think I would be interested in something like that unless somehow they just give me digital access anyway and keep the disc, which I don't see the reason for them to do that. So other than that, you put all that shit together. So PlayStation says, yeah, we're going to stop making physical games in 2028. Xbox, the next console, is probably not going to have a disc drive. And then also, people are trying to say, oh, it's Grand Theft Auto's fault. Oh, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. When really, this specific stuff started with Nintendo and their game key cards, where there's no real data on the disc. It's still a physical chip, data on the chip. It's still a physical chip. And then you have to download the game onto your thing. And you can technically give that chip, the card, to another person, and then they can play the game that way. But they can't. It's just weird. It's a needless step of nonsense. So I think we all assumed that, they don't, it's game key cards because it's easier to produce them that way instead of putting the actual files on the disc, on the card, whatever. But it's just weird. And we got to remember, like, Grand Theft Auto, it's $80. Yeah, but remember, Nintendo was the first people to charge people $80. The first ever company to say, you know what? This game's worth $80. I know we just switched to $70 like 5 years ago, but now I'm already pushing it to $80. It took 20 years to go up $10, and now suddenly it's $80. Fuck you. And now they're charging not all of their games. Let's not go that crazy. But they have multiple games that retail for $80 now, which is it's just weird, because it already you get $10 more. All right, fine. Here, we all got used to it this generation. We said, okay, you know what? Fine. Here, you get fucking $70 now. But yeah, so all I'm saying is don't let the Nintendo people get away with it. Okay. If you see Nintendo fans like, wow, good thing we still have physical games. No, you don't. You fucking idiot. You haven't already noticed that 80% of your games are not physical anymore. You're just buying these little chips anyway without knowing. So it's just crazy. So we're going into a future where hardware is more expensive. The game quality has not really gone up to match the price of everything. Graphical quality, sure, but specifically, let's split hairs here. Graphical technology, but not art design. Art design has gotten worse the past generation because everybody just runs everything on Unreal now. So everything looks really good, but it all looks like the same really good. And that's not cool. That's not good for art. So it's hard to imagine a future where, anyone gets into games when they, you need to drop $1,000 to be able to start playing a game. And then every game costs $80 and you need internet to download it and everything. And, if you're a parent and you have no experience with games, it's hard to imagine, little Jimmy putting up a decent case for, could you drop $900 for Christmas? When little Jimmy can already play Roblox and Fortnite for free on your phone, or if you buy them an iPad's like what, $600? Boom, right? It's taken care of. Bada bing, bada boom. So it's just crazy. Though one of my friends had a good point in that. What about the gamers that grow up to be parents, right? Then they will say, oh my God, little Jimmy, you haven't played Red Dead Redemption? We got to fix that right now, right? It's the same thing with people that grow up loving movies and they're like, oh my God, you got to watch, you haven't seen Goodfellas. Holy crap. Right. Or whatever. Right. So it's not entirely a dead end. Right. But it's just interesting. Everything on the earth, every brand, every product, every hobby, anything you can think of needs some way to get new people into it, or else it will reach a genetic dead end. If you ever stagnate long enough, you will reach a point where there's not much more going on, and then it all becomes pointless to a degree. So it's just it's crazy to think about. So we might, when you compare this with the discourse we've seen twice now, just last month, we for some reason reheated the nacho discourse of what's wrong with just watching games instead of playing them. Somehow that came back, even though we already ran through that in February when Resident Evil came out. We're going to reach a stage where more and more and more there's going to be people that only watch games and perhaps never even played games. They won't know what it actually is like to sit down and push the buttons, to actually defeat the boss, to actually clear this level, to actually do this or that or this or that, right? And that's the whole point of a game, is the interactivity. Anything else, you could just watch a movie, you could just watch a show, you could read a book, you could listen to music, right? There's no, a game requires interaction from the player to progress forward. You can put a movie on and no one can tell objectively how engaged you were with it, because you could throw a movie on. You could say that you watched a movie without even watching it. You could read the plot on Wikipedia. You could throw it on and then say, I'm just going to cook for 40 minutes and miss the whole first half of the movie. Then when the second half kicks in and they're, all the characters that were introduced and fleshed out, now all these things are happening. You're like, well, I don't know why I'm supposed to care about these characters, because you didn't pay attention in the first half. Right? We're just reaching a society where people like to LARP and pretend that they're, they like to pretend that they're this or that to fit into a community more so than actually liking the thing or understanding why people like the thing. And I wish poser was a more popular word, because that's the proper term for it. LARPing, obviously, live action role playing, already has a very exact specific thing it's supposed to be about. And poser has its specific thing as well. So I wish poser was a more common word, but I'm just going to keep using LARPing because people actually know it. And it's funnier because people just know it, as opposed to, LARPing sounds funnier than saying you're being a poser. It's a longer stretch of verbal excess to get across. So, yeah, it's an interesting time. So I'm going to continue whittling away on the project, and I'm back to a good balance of putting a good 4 or 5 hours into it, and just it's just fun just digging in there and saying, oh, what if I, let's tweak this. Oh, what if we did this? Oh, and let's do some of this. And obviously at some point, you get it as good as you can and then it's done. So all the other layers, again, I don't really know how to talk about these things, but all the other layers have been properly dressed and processed. So I still need to work on processing the last layer, but yeah, we're getting pretty damn close. So late July, early August, somewhere around there. And if it's not done by August 9th, I mean, I might just come back anyway, and we'll just we'll hold certain things hostage or something. I don't even know. I don't know what we'll do. But that's what I know. So I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. Games are crazy. Physical media is crazy. Another thing about physical media, my gut reaction to no physical PlayStation games is that they wouldn't have a disc drive, right? Oh, well, then that means the next PlayStation won't have a disc drive. But Sony also literally invented the Blu-ray, and they still have their hand in music publishing and movie publishing and shit like that. So I think it would be insane for Sony to say, yeah, no, the PlayStation just doesn't have a disc drive anymore. But that's probably where it's heading, which is insane. And I know that Blu-rays aren't that popular anymore regardless, but it would be so insane and anti-art and so shallow and cynical for Sony to say, yeah, well, I mean, people aren't buying Blu-rays anyway, so we're just going to fucking rip it out of the thing, right? So that would be dumb. What I do know is that I have no interest in buying a wholly digital console. I need a disc drive. I need a way to be able to play stuff, right? So if the next Xbox is digital only, I'm probably just not going to buy it. If the PlayStation's digital only, I'm probably not just going to fucking buy it. I don't know if I look over and I don't know if my PS5 and my Series X are the last PlayStation and Xbox I'll buy. Who knows, right? But no exclusive is going to drive me crazy for those things, because I'm like, no, you fucked it up. And, maybe emulation technology will advance so fast that we can get that shit figured out, before the generation ends. I think PS4 emulation only started to get its shit together once the PS5 came out. So hopefully we won't have to wait a whole 8 years for stuff. But who knows if anybody's be able to, who knows what console generations will be like anymore with the expense of all the parts and everything in the first place. So it's all just a bunch of nonsense, isn't it? But, yeah, I'd love to say, well, at least Nintendo's still doing physical, but that's not even really true in the first place. So we'll probably... The Switch 2 just came out, so they've got like 6 or 7 years before they need to make a new model, and I doubt the OLED, presumably when they make an OLED Switch 2, they'll probably not remove the cartridge slot at that point, but probably not too much long after that, probably with the Switch 3 or something, I don't know. Or they'll make a Switch 2 Lite with no slot, and they'll say, yo, you're just supposed to stream your games or do this or whatever, right? So... A lot of interesting times ahead of us. But what I know is that even though I may be I'm not against people watching people play games. I'm just against them pretending that they have as much input as people who have played games. That's the kicker. So it's not like I'm hypocritical in my participation of letting people watch me play games, because I have no problem shoving my fan base back at the same time and saying, yeah, now why don't you do it? Yeah, come on, why don't you do it? Because there's a certain prestige and accomplishment in doing those things, in my opinion. So, anyway, I think that's all my ideas. I've had 12 hours to kind of react, and not 12 hours, but I don't know, some amount of time to react and kind of process and be like, ugh. So, those are the things I can remember thinking about. Oh, and also, I guess if PlayStation is obviously going to phase out physical, then I guess that totally buries the idea that they'll ever support backward compatibility, which was a total pipe dream hope that I've had this whole time, is that, well, maybe, if Xbox could figure it out, if last generation Xbox just decided, yeah, we're just going to put backward compatibility in on a software level halfway through the Xbox One generation. And I was like, oh, well, then surely PlayStation can do it. They just got to figure out the PS3. That's all. It's just kind of hard and they'll figure it out. Yeah, I guess that's really not happening now, huh? So that sucks. That fucking blows. So, oh well. I'm gonna get back to probably gonna play some Grand Theft Auto. This was my the first of the month. I get a lot of shit done, and this is the last thing I gotta get done today. So tomorrow I'll get back to the project, and I'll see you all soon enough. As we can see by the numbers, I'm starting to get a little steam on Twitter, which is cool. I really want more notoriety, more impact there, since that's kind of my go-to social media. But you get what you can, right? So it's so funny. I love tracking all these numbers and all these rivals, all these targets that I have to surpass over time. But yeah, so next time you see me, might be a stream. It might not. It might be the project. Who knows? So I'm going to get back to working on it and finish it up, so then we can all celebrate and say, wow, oh my God, he did that thing, and now he gets to do all this other shit. And I can't believe how much shit he's got planned. It's fucking ridiculous. So I've been you've been you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.